very good. It's very, very good. Let's move on here. Let's stay in the quarterback vicinity. Let's talk about Texas A&M's quarterback room. And uh, I can
There are
already
people scoffing right now. There are people scoffing right now, which is fine. You just don't know. You don't know yet. We're trying to
just
warn
listen.
you.
Just listen. Okay. Connor Wigman is a top 5 quarterback in the SEC. Easily, I think, next year. Is that crazy?
No. And by the way, by the end of the year, I firmly expect him to be top 3 in that category. Same tier as Carson Beck, same tier Garrett Nussmeyer will be in, stuff like that. Jackson Dart, I guess if you want to throw him in there.
I would say Jackson Dart for Garrett Nussmeyer. But yeah, and it doesn't end with Connor Wigman either, right? We talked about what makes a quarterback room really good is depth. I mean, we've seen the depth. I mean, Jalen Henderson played well. He played well, man. Played well in his time. He's a big guy. He's kind of mobile. He's got a sneaky good arm. He's got good weapons around him. A lot of the same pieces from last year that he was used to using, right? Just going to be a different offense, of course. Same pieces, different player moving them on the chessboard. And then let's go to the third string quarterback. Let's go to Marcel Reed, who played in the bowl game when Jalen Henderson went down in that first play of the game, pretty much. Marcel Reed was awesome. That's a guy who they flipped late from Ole Miss. They didn't get the quarterbacks that they wanted in that draft class or in that recruiting
Including
class.
it was Austin Novosad.
It was Austin Novosad, among others, and Eli Holstein also as well. Uh,
That was
but
early in the
like,
cycle. He flipped the Bama.
yeah. So what a great take by A&M. Marcel Reed is good. He looks good when I watch him practice. He doesn't necessarily. He's not filled out the same way that Jalen Henderson is, but Marcel Reed, he's got a really good arm. I mean, he threw for like 300 some yards in the bowl game, and it looked
He was
awesome. Like we saw a lot of
20
backup
for
quarterbacks.
33, 361. Now everybody kind of moved the ball in Oklahoma State last year at time for the most part.
Yes,
But the fact that you could throw in there, and he was not supposed to start that game. On the first drive, what Jalen Henderson went down with an injury, right? And Marcus Reed was like, hey, you started the year as the fourth string because Max Johnson was on that team last year as well. You started the team as a fourth stringer, and now you got to play in the bowl game. And you're playing without Evan Stewart, and you're playing with some weird O line shuffling.
like
And
4 scholarship receivers that game.
and you're knowing that your defense, and by the way, then well, someone got hurt too, and you knowing that your defense is super super shorthanded, and so you got to score every possession, and they move the football.
Yeah, didn't win the game, but they moved the football. So that's what I feel good about. You got Connor Wigman, who could be a top tier quarterback in college football next year. Could be. And you're like, oh, the injuries, whatever. Okay, sure, fine. Then look at the backups, right? Let's look at the whole, let's look at the quarterback room as a whole. And I don't know if you could name me, I don't know if you could name 10 better quarterback rooms than there is at Texas A&M. I don't know if you could do that. So really like that quarterback room there. And to boot, this isn't an offensive coordinator discussion, but there's a clear upgrade there at the offensive coordinator, or you would like to believe that there's an offensive coordinator upgrade there. So uh, it will be
And
interesting having everyone in that room having to learn a new offense, but they're gonna be doing it together. And also to boot, Miles O'Neill, true freshman, is getting a lot of hype. It's getting a lot of hype. Now he's not on campus yet, which is fine. No big deal. But that could be another player to watch out too in that quarterback room for years to come. So you like to see it's hard to stack talent in the quarterback room these days, and Texas A&M has done that. So credit to them.
yeah, no, did they take 2 quarterbacks this year? A&M?
I don't think so.
It was just O'Neal. Okay, regardless, still a pretty good take there. But yeah, like you said, a nice little parting gift from Jimbo Fisher to get you Marcel Reed, and then Bobby Petrino to get you Jalen Henderson. Nice last offseason. So yeah, absolutely. And also, I think you're also upgrading, like your O line is upgrading, like not only like the players, but your coaching staff. You're going from Adazio to Cushing. And by the way, we've broken down the whole A&M coaching staff on our channel as well. So feel free to check that out as well. But yeah, I think there are a lot of Connor Wigman truthers, right? There's a good amount. And for a guy that has not played a ton of football like he has, it's pretty telling that like a lot of people who know what they're talking about are well sourced, really, really high on him. And yes, like if you look at it, the numbers aren't gaudy. If you watch him play, the guy just has it, right? Even as a true freshman on a dying football team, he went in there, went into Baton Rouge, or I'm sorry, they hosted LSU and they got a win there, and it was
Top five
very, very
team.
top five team who was going to the SEC, won the SEC West that year. So Wigman, like you said, he's going to be a guy that's really going to move up the quarterback rankings in the SEC and also nationally. And then obviously the depth there, which is why they're on this list, because they do have, if something happens, like Wigman gets hurt again, or Henderson gets hurt, you have depth there in guys that you like, not only in the short term, but also in the long term in their development there. And
Yeah,
also like,
and
yeah, I think I said
uh,
blind faith that they're just going to be getting better year over year with just a little bit better coaching.
yeah, and you look at a guy like Max Johnson who left in the transfer portal to go to North Carolina. I don't know that he's the second string quarterback on this team for next year if he had stayed. I don't know that he's the third string. I think he probably is third string. The experience, gives him a leg up on Marcel Reed. But in terms of guys I'd rather have in the quarterback room, I would take all three of these guys in the quarterback room, I think, for the future Texas A&M over Max Johnson.
And
Of
then
course,
1 year of
Max
Max
Johnson only is,
Johnson.
yeah, absolutely. So this is a
But
good
well, yeah,
quarterback room. Don't fool yourself.
yeah, and not to dog on Max Johnson any longer, but I do think like something he struggled with, which you saw last year and the year before that, and the year before that, like he struggled in pocket presence, right? And when you had a bad O line, like that did not help you. But I do think Henderson's pocket presence is a lot better, and it's getting better. Marcel Reed's was pretty impressive in that bowl game. Connor Wickman, it's better than Max Johnson's, but he just stands in there and just takes hits, and you like to see him get the ball out a little bit quicker. And I think that's what you know Colin Klein can get out of him in terms of taking him that next step and to be able to put together a full 12 game healthy regular season.
Absolutely.